Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a golden smoky eye, getting ready for the Christmas parties, the holiday parties, just being with your family, or if you just want to be glam all by yourself, then that's cool too. So we're going to do a smoky eye and incorporate some glitters into there, and then I'll show you my full face makeup routine. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is make sure that I prime my face. So what I like to do is put the primer on and then start working on my eyes. That way that soaks in while I'm working on my eyes. So the primer that I'm gonna be using today for my face is the Pore Professional Pro Balm to minimize the appearance of pores from Benefit, and that's this one. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to prime my eyes, and what I'm going to be using for my eyes is going to be the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. So after I do that, I just like to set it down with some powder. So the one that I'm going to go in with is going to be from the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette, and I'm just going to use this bay color right here. Alright, so after that's done, then you want to go in with a transition color. So I'm going to be using that same palette, and I'm going to be going in with henna and sandalwood. I'm just going to mix a little bit of both of those, and I'm going to use that same brush, that fluffy brush. And I recommend you start with very little, and then what I do is put it on the outer corner, and then I just blend in. So I'm going to be using that same palette, and I'm going to be going in with Black Truffle here at the very bottom corner. And I'm going to go in with a kind of like a rounded brush, and it's by Morphe. I'm just going to get very little. I'm going to tap the excess, and then I'm going to start in the outer V. Just to get the shape that you want. Just make sure you build it up little by little. So I'm gonna go in with that black again. All you want to do is pretty much mirror both eyes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to blend out any harsh edges. So what I like to do is go in with a brown. So I'm going to be using Cocoa in the same palette right here at the bottom, right here. And I'm going to be going in with that color very lightly and just blending it a little bit more inwards, and just making sure that there's no harsh lines anywhere. So right here I actually went in with a red color to blend out the top lines. It's called Bossy, and it's from that same palette, the Rose Gold palette. Alright, so with that same palette I went back in with Black Truffle, and I'm just fixing the outer edges just to make sure that I keep that black pigment on the outer sides. So the next thing I'm going to do is carve out my lid. I'm going to be using the MAC paint pot again, but I'm going to be going in with a flat brush. That way I can get a smooth cut crease. So what I'm going to do is going to start from the inner part, in my inner corner, and just come out little by little. I'm going to be using some glitter glue, that way I can get a little bit more adhesiveness to it. And I'm going to be using some pigments, but also I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty palette to complete this look. So the pigment that I'm using is actually from Unique, and I'm just going to be dumping out a little bit, and it just looks like this. It's just a little bottle, and it's just a very golden pigment, but for me it's a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to be mixing it a little bit with the hashtag blessed color in the Huda Beauty palette, just to give it a little bit more of a looks like a little bit of a brown undertone. I'm just going to dump a little bit of this out on my hand. That was a lot. Okay, and then using a flat brush, something like this, cut that, and then just go in a little bit in there, and then just put that over. Now I'm going to go in with the Huda Beauty palette, and I'm going to be using hashtag blessed, and I'm going to go in with a fluffier brush than that. I'm not going to be using a flat brush for that, so something like this. It is kind of flat, but it's still a little bit fluffy. So the next thing I'm going to do is go back in with that fluffy brush and that brown color, and just blend in that middle part. I'm going to go in back with that tapered brush and just add a little bit more black, just a little bit, to the outer edges. So the next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to do my foundation. The foundation that I'm currently using, I'm actually using two, because the MAC Studio Fix Fluid is a little bit too dark for me, so I have to mix it in with a little bit of a lighter color, that way I can get a good shade. So this is the MAC Studio Fix that I'm currently using, and it's an NC35, and I'm mixing it with one of my favorite foundations. So as I ramble on and on, I forgot to mention what foundation I was talking about, and this is the Fenty Beauty foundation by Rihanna. It is by far one of my favorite foundations ever. I'm using the Morphe Y6, which is my favorite right now, and I just dab a little bit and I just put it in. So now I'm going to go in with some concealer, and by far my favorite right now is the Tarte Shape Tape, and I am in color Light Sand. Next, I'm going to go in and set my under eye. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab this and I'm gonna tap it in just so that I can get a little more coverage and then dust it away. Next thing I am going to do is I'm going to do a wing liner. So I'm going to do that off camera real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back and here is the wing liner. Looks a little bit crazy right now, but we just need to add some lashes and then put a little bit of eyeshadow there in the bottom. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply some lashes. But before I do that, I'm just going to put on a little bit of mascara. So what I like to do is just go in there and just set it on top. I try to get it as close to the lash line as possible, but if I get it on my eyelashes first, I'll just push it back in. Okay, and then I do one last thing and go back in with the mascara and then just make sure I get all the lashes. So now what we're going to do is just balance it out here at the bottom. So I'm going to go in with the colors that I use as my transition color. So that's going to be henna and sandalwood. I'm just going to go in with those at the bottom and I'm going to be using a flat brush. I'm going to go back in with that flat brush and I'm going to go into that darker color cocoa. And then this one is the one that you want to get really close to your lash line because you don't want to bring down your eyes. Go in with that mascara and go on that lower lash line. Now we're just going to finish up on our face and then we should be all done. And yeah, so this is the finished look. I hope you guys like it. I think it came out really nice. So just comment below of what you'd like to see next. Just any looks that you like to see, any pictures, any people that you'd like me to recreate. So yeah, just leave the comment below. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and make sure that you share this with your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I love y'all. Bye.